To Philly Sports Unfiltered. Boys, as you know, the Birds are poised to have an absolutely stellar season for this upcoming year. And we are just dripping with young talent, both on the offensive and defensive side. And in today's video, we are going to go over the defensive depth chart for the 2022-2023 season. I think it's going to be a great year. We're going to do this video. We're going to start with the big boys on the inside, and we're going to slowly push it outside. So let's start off with the Eagles defensive line. I mean, we've had a very talented defensive line for a great number of years, but there is a couple of key pieces for this current year. Number one, Brandon Graham. He is back from his Achilles injury. From what he says, he's lively, he's energetic, he's feeling back to himself. I take the man at his word. Brandon Graham is going to give it his all. I think he's going to have a good year. Obviously, he's getting long in the tooth, but just knowing what we know about Brandon, the kind of effort that he gives, the kind of energy he brings to the team, just simply having him back, having him on the locker room, having him in the field, this is a big upgrade. As well, this year, the Eagles also brought on board Jordan Davis. For me, I think Jordan Davis is a fantastic addition for the future, and I think he is going to get a lot of playing time, and I think he's going to end up splitting reps with Fletcher Cox, and I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up taking over Fletcher Cox as the season gets longer. As well, Javon Hargrave last season had a tremendous year, put up really good numbers, particularly in the first half of the year. He kind of fell off to the second half of the year, and we have Malik Williams behind him, which also I think for a rookie season had a very good year. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, the Eagles decided to bring back Derek Barnett. I don't understand the move. I understand they didn't give up a ton of money for him. He's more of a depth piece, but he's a dumb player. He makes a lot of penalties. Perhaps there's just no better options at the moment for the line. And maybe this is an area that we focus on in the draft in the coming years. And of course, Josh Sweat got a multi-year deal, had a pretty good year last year. But I think he can be even better. And I think we will see that from him in the coming year. Overall, I like where we're at with the defensive line. I do think it is one of the stronger groups that we have, and I'm particularly encouraged with some of the younger players like Jordan Davis and Malik Williams. I think those can be two good big anchors in the middle for the future, and I would like to see a little bit more talent on defensive end perhaps in next year's draft. Now, let's dig in a little bit to Jordan Davis, because obviously this is one of our biggest hauls from the draft. Now, if we're looking at Jordan Davis's stats from Georgia, the numbers are not going to pop off your screen, because the thing that you need to know about Jordan Davis is he played less than half of the snaps for the Georgia Bulldogs. Okay, so you look at it, he only had 17 solo tackles, in his senior year, 15 assisted tackles, 32 tackles in total, 5 tackles for loss, 2 sacks. The numbers do not jump off the page, but he was not playing all that much because they were really stacked on defense. So to really understand Jordan Davis, we have to look more into what is his scouting report, what type of player can he be. So obviously we know he is a big, huge, massive body. He has just rare body type, rare strength, and this is something that you cannot train. The size of this man, 340 plus pounds, the strength that he has, reports out of OTAs was that Jordan Davis is already lifting more than any other player on the Eagles teams already, and still he's a kid. He's really good at controlling blocks, on the line. He understands how to get into gaps. He's really powerful off the ball with his first step. He's incredibly flexible and light on his feet for his size. And he has more positional flexibility than his size suggests. So if we're looking at this, all the positives, okay? Rare strength, rare quickness. He's really quick off the ball. He's agile. He's light on his feet. Although he was not a pass rusher for Georgia, if you're looking at what he has, he can translate that into the NFL, particularly as he gets more in shape and more responsibilities get left off to him. I think you're going to see him blossom probably over this year and next year into a really, really good football player. And we've already seen him getting in better shape. He's talking about losing weight. It seems to be in his mind that that is a really key element to his success. So I'm very happy to see that. Now, getting into his negatives. At times in college, he got overly excited coming off the ball. He went upfield a little bit too far at times. That is something that is normal for a college player. Obviously, he needs to develop as a more dynamic pass rusher, but he has the physical tools, he has the quickness, he has the agility to do that. So I'm not really particularly too worried. And he played not so many snaps in college. And I think, number one, it was due to the depth of talent on the team, and everybody was playing a very specific niche role on that team. But also, maybe he was a little bit out of shape, but it seems to be on his mind. So all in all, really, really high on Jordan Davis. Now, getting into linebackers. Linebacker went from being one of the worst positions on the Eagles to overnight, in the course of an offseason, becoming one of the best position groups. Obviously, the Eagles added Hassan Reddick. Hassan Reddick is a great Sam linebacker. Really, really good pass rusher. He's a guy that I do believe that will consistently give double-digit sacks. And the Eagles also added Kaiser White, who is just a really great all-along, high-volume, high-tackle, really good tackling linebacker. And, of course, TJ Edwards had a bit of a breakout year last year. He was all over the field. He was a bit of a thumper. Really liked what I saw from TJ Edwards. But for me, the biggest addition is Nakobe Dean. Nakobe Dean is a leader. He is an alpha dog. He is incredibly instinctual. And I want to get into the type of player that Nakobe is, because this is an incredible addition, not only for this year, but for the future of the Eagles offense. And often when it comes to college players, especially on defense, you normally will hear me say, the stats don't jump off the page. But for Nakobe, the stats really do jump off the page. So let's just look at his final year at Georgia, which was his junior year. In just 15 games, he had 36 solo tackles, 36 assisted tackles, 72 tackles in total, 10.5 tackles for loss, 6 sacks, 2 interceptions. He returned 1 interception for a touchdown, 2 forced fumbles. I mean, he does absolutely everything. Now, what kind of linebacker is Nakobe Dean? Is he Patrick Willis? No, he's not some large, imposing, hard-hitting linebacker. Think more somebody like Luke Kuechly, where when he is on the other side of the field, the quarterback, the offense feels like he has a copy of your playbook, because he is just instinctual. He's all over the place. He's meeting you in the backfield. He's breaking up passes. He's sacking the quarterback. He is just an absolute nightmare to deal with. So let's look at Nakobe's positives. He has incredibly great speed. I think he was the fastest linebacker in college football last year. Flies around not only as a defender, but also as a blitzer. He is really, really high energy. He's very physical, despite he's not the most overwhelmingly physical force in the world. He's very smooth in tight spaces. He has really quick feet. He beats blocks, really quick, really agile. Good explosion, good physical explosion. And he's actually quite a good tackler as well. We saw that with the number of solo tackles that he had. So overall, really good cerebral player, great speed, good tackler, very, very high energy, and very, very smart, instinctual football player. All the things that you would want out of a linebacker. Now, some of his negatives. He's not the biggest linebacker in the world. As I said, he's not going to be like a Patrick Willis. He has a bit of a smaller frame, and he may need to bulk up a little bit in terms of his strength training for the NFL. And because he doesn't have the largest frame, he doesn't have quite ideal length. So maybe he could have some issues guarding tight ends in the NFL consistently. But I would argue, just based on how instinctual he is, I do have faith that he will be up to the task. So for me, Nakobe is a huge upgrade, and I wouldn't be surprised if game one he's already starting at the mic. I wouldn't be surprised if it takes him a couple of weeks to get there. I think he will be the starter at the mic, either game one or I would say at least by game 4. That's my read on it. Now, I want to get into cornerback, because cornerback, we also made a huge upgrade. Obviously, we know Slay had a huge season last year. We're all very pleased with him. Avonte Maddox has been a great when he's been at slot corner for the Birds, but we've been really struggling at CB2 for a while. Howie went out, he made a huge move, and he picked up James Bradberry, who is a really legit CB2 in this league. So let's get into James Bradberry, because he's coming off a really great year. He had 37 solo tackles last year, 4 interceptions, which was tied for 12th in the league, and 17 passes defended, which was tied for 4th in the league. So what kind of cornerback is James Bradberry? Number one, he's a bit of a turnover machine. He's really good at getting interceptions. He's good in press man coverage. He's also good in zone. And he is a player who's always there. He's always on the ball. He's breaking passes up, and he is quite physical. Okay, so let's just go over his strengths really quick. He's been in the league for a while, so I assume people know more about James Bradberry. So obviously, he has that big body that you look for from an NFL cornerback. He can really mix it up in press man, as I said. He's quite quick, and he has really good athleticism. He often meets receivers at the point of the catch, as we can see with all the passes he had defended. As I said, he's really good in press man coverage. He has good ability to track the ball downfield. He's good in zone coverage, and he can pretty much guard sideline to sideline. So overall, he's just a really good, solid cornerback. He's going to get you some interceptions. He's going to break up a lot of passes. He's a big body. He can get physical with more physical receivers, and he's going to be a great addition. He's going to make life easier on Slay. He's going to make life easier on Avonte Maddox. He is a great pickup. Now, there was some word out of OTAs that he was getting burnt a little bit by Smitty, which I think is fine. Kudos to Smitty, but James Bradberry, he had just joined the team. I don't think that he was into the playbook, so I wouldn't worry about any of that talk. I think James Bradberry is going to have a fine season for the Birds. Now, last but not least, we are getting into the safety position. Now, safety was probably our biggest worry this offseason. Everybody was a little bit worried about safety because really not that many good players in at safety. So, firstly, Marcus Epps, I thought he had a really good year. I thought it was a bit of a breakout year for Marcus Epps. I thought he played really physical. I was really happy with what I saw from Marcus Epps. So I feel really good about him being a starter this year. Now, a lot of us were worried because we weren't so much of a fan of Anthony Harris. And we haven't seen much from Kayvon Wallace. And sorry, this is a picture of Avonte Maddox. I messed up. I didn't put the picture of Kayvon in there. So we weren't really happy with the safety depth, but Howie went out, made another great move, brought in Jaquiski's Tart. Tart is a really good, physical, very solid starting caliber safety. And I think this has really improved the safety room. But overall, still, the depth at safety isn't very impressive. And this is another position group where I think we can make some pretty good improvements in next year's draft. So that is the defensive line depth chart for this year. I think we made a lot of improvements. I think we brought in some really blue chip young talent in Jordan Davis and Nakobe Dean. I think we made some great signings like James Bradberry and Kaiser White. Now, I want to ask you guys, what do you think is the best position group of the defense? Let me know in the comment section below. For me, it is a close one, but I am going to say our best position group, I am going to go with cornerback. because I do think that for CB1 and CB2, this could be one of the best tandems at quarterback in the league. And Avonte Maddox is a really, really good slot corner. So for me, I'm going to go with cornerback. I also really like where we're at linebacker, if I'm being fully honest. Of course, I like the defensive line, but I would like to see a little bit more strength at defensive end. So for me, I'm going cornerback for the best position group. What is the worst position group? For me, I'm going to go with safety. I really like Marcus Epps a lot. I like the way that he plays football, like the addition of Jaquiski Tart, but behind them, I think it's really top heavy. Not really a big fan of the depth. Haven't seen much from Kayvon Wallace. I don't like Anthony Harris, and really don't think that we have that much depth behind there. So for me, that is our worst position group. Now, breakout candidates for this season. For me, I am going to say some of our breakout candidates for this season. I'm going to go ahead and say Josh Sweat is going to be one of the breakout candidates for this season. We've been waiting for him to have a big year. We've been waiting for him to go in and have double-digit sacks. Now that we have a little bit more young talent on the defensive line that is not going to get so gassed, I do think that there's a chance that we're going to see Josh Sweat have a breakout year. Another player that I'm going to say right now that's going to be a breakout candidate in his first season in the NFL, it is going to be none other than Nakobe Dean. Even though this man is a rookie, I think that he is going to have an awesome year, and I think he is going to be a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. So those are my breakout defensive candidates for this season. What are yours? Let me know in the comment section below. I want to know, what is your best position group? What is your worst position group on defense? And name me at least one breakout season candidate. Guys, it's all I got for this one. Go Birds, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Later.